Today, we're going to do something really special. We're not just building a wooden box, we're building a home. I'm going to walk you through how you can create a simple, super effective birdhouse that can make a huge difference for the birds right in your own backyard.
And that's really what it's all about, isn't it? Before we dive into the nuts and bolts, I wanted to share this quote. It just perfectly captures the reward of this whole project, that incredible feeling you get when you realize your work has become a safe haven for a new little family.
So first up, let's talk about the why. It turns out that providing a home for birds is more important right now than it's ever been, especially with our towns and cities getting bigger all the time.
Think about it. Out in the wild, birds find homes in natural spots, like holes in old trees or little cracks in rocks. But in our urban world, those spots are disappearing. Urban development is clearing away old trees, and old buildings with all their nooks and crannies are being replaced by these modern, perfectly sealed homes. We've kind of created a housing crisis for them without even realizing it.
And that's exactly where we can step in. A good birdhouse, it's not just a cute garden decoration. Oh no, it's a lifeline. It's like a tiny fortress for birds to raise their chicks, safe from predators and bad weather, which really boosts their chances of survival.
Okay, so we know why we're doing this. Now let's get into the how. What makes for the perfect birdhouse blueprint? We're going to cover the essentials for making a home that birds will actually want to live in.
So, what are birds really looking for in a new place? Well, it all boils down to a few key things that are all about safety and comfort. Get these right, and you're golden.
First things first, materials. You absolutely have to use natural, untreated wood. Cedar or cypress are fantastic choices, and you want it to be about 1.5 to 2 centimeters thick. That gives great insulation from the heat and the cold. Now, this is really important. Stay away from plywood, and whatever you do, do not use paint or varnish. Those chemicals can be seriously harmful to birds.
Now, let's talk numbers. What's so cool here is how specific these measurements are, and it's all for a good reason. A 10 by 10 centimeter floor gives them just enough space. A height of about 15 to 20 centimeters keeps the nest nice and deep away from reach. But, see that last one, the entrance hole? Turns out that little circle is the most important part of the entire design.
Seriously, if you only get one thing absolutely perfect, it has to be this next measurement. This one little detail is what makes your birdhouse a safe haven instead of a dangerous trap.
3 centimeters, that's it. That small hole is like the perfect security guard. It's just big enough for small birds like sparrows to squeeze through, but it's too small for bigger, more aggressive birds or other predators to get inside. It's a game changer.
And here are a few other clever features you'll want to add. A sloped roof with a little overhang works like a front porch, keeping the rain out. A few small holes in the floor for drainage are a must to keep the nest from getting soggy. And leaving the inside wall just a little rough gives the baby birds something to grip onto when they're ready to fledge.
Okay, let's move on to the build itself and see how all these pieces come together. I promise you, it is way easier than it looks, and it makes for a fantastic weekend project.
The whole build really comes down to 4 simple steps. First, measure carefully and cut your pieces. Then, give the edges a light sanding, no splinters. For step 3, use screws to assemble the box. They're much sturdier than nails and will make the house last a lot longer. And finally, attach that roof, making sure you've got that protective overhang.
Now, a few super important safety tips while you're building. First, and this is a common mistake, do not add a little perch below the entrance. It seems like a nice touch, but it actually just gives predators a handy place to sit while they attack the nest. Second, remember, keep everything natural and unpainted. And third, roughening up that wood inside the entrance hole really helps everyone get a good grip.
All right, you can build the most beautiful birdhouse in the world, but if it's in a bad neighborhood, you won't get any tenants. For birds, just like for us, it's all about location, location, location. So let's find that prime real estate.
So from a bird's point of view, the ideal spot checks 3 boxes. It's got to be safe, it's got to be sheltered, and it's got to be quiet. This means you have to think about everything, from neighborhood cats to which way the wind blows.
Let's put on our bird thinking caps. You want to mount the house somewhere between 1.5 to 3 meters high. That's high enough to be safe from cats, but still low enough for you to see what's going on. A spot that gets morning sun but afternoon shade is perfect, so the little house doesn't overheat. And finally, try to face the entrance away from strong winds and rain to keep the inside nice and cozy.
And then, once it's all installed, comes the hardest part. You've got to wait. Just remember, nature has its own timetable. It might take a few weeks, it might even take a whole season before a bird family decides to move in. So, be patient.
And that brings us to the final, and honestly the most rewarding part of this whole adventure, just getting to watch that connection you've helped create.
I just love this little story from the source material. The person who built the birdhouse noticed that a family of sparrows had actually customized it. They had chipped away at the entrance just a little bit to make it the absolute perfect size for them. It's just an amazing reminder of how clever and adaptable these little guys are.
In the end, this whole project is about so much more than wood and screws. It's really about creating a genuine, personal link to the natural world and inviting it to be a little closer, right outside your window.
And the rewards, they're just wonderful. You can look forward to waking up to birdsong. You'll get to see the amazing sight of parents flying back and forth all day long, feeding their little ones. And you get this deep, simple joy of knowing that you helped make it all happen.
And so that leaves us with one last exciting thought. Once you put out the welcome mat, who do you think might decide to move in? Building a birdhouse is an invitation, and you just never know which amazing feathered neighbors are going to accept.